to nourish our mind, heart and enrich our soul. Because when we are hearing more information and we are listening to all the information only through by the channel that is ear. Today we are going to see the human ear. In anatomy of human ear, we are going to classify the human ear into three parts: outer part, middle part, and this is known as the inner region. The outer region is called as pinna. Pinna is known as auricles. Pinna otherwise known as auricles. This pinna has a helix. Pinna has a helix, and another is known as a lobule. From the pinnae, that is the auricles, the sound waves reaches to the external auditory meatus. This external auditory meatus comprises of the wax secreting gland, the cerumen secreting gland, that is known as ceruminous gland, and also it has the hair follicles. The combination of hair follicles and cerumen together protect the foreign bodies that tries to enter into it. This delicate external auditory meatus is protected by these two components, that is known as the cerumen as well as the hair follicles. This hair follicle cerumen together that protect the ear from the insect as well as the water. The sound waves from the external auditory meatus, it reaches to the tympanum membrane. Tympanum membrane is otherwise known as a eardrum. This tympanum membrane is highly delicate membrane region that will be magnify the impact of sound. So it will increase the sound impact and it conveys to the next region. If this particular tympanum, that is known as the eardrum otherwise called, and if get damaged through by the pores, it will be recovered within a month. What is the reason for these perforations or the holes in the tympanum? It is maybe due to the pressure impact of the cotton swab or trauma or accident. So this can be assessed or diagnosed by the otoscope. This otoscope, it eliminates and magnifies the external auditory meatus as well as tympanum and help the doctor to recognize what actually the patient suffers. Okay. This is all about the external ear. This external ear, it started from pinna and it ends at tympanum membrane or eardrum. Now we are going to see the middle ear. This middle ear, it comprises of two windows. One is known as the round window, another is known as the oval window. The oval window is otherwise known as fenestra ovalis and round window is known as the fenestra rotunda. This round window located below the oval window. From the tympanum, the connection established to the round window through by the three bones. One is malleus, incus, another is known as the stapes. From the tympanum, malleus reaches that conveys the sound waves to the incus, then into the stapes. Stapes attached to the oval window, that is fenestra ovalis. Immediately below the oval window, there is a round window. These round window have a second tympanic membrane. From the round window, the sound waves conveys to the inner ear, that is known as labyrinth. The middle ear, that is malleus, incus, stapes, have a ball and socket connection. It has two skeletal muscles. One is known as tensor tympani, another is known as stapedius muscle. The stapedius is the smallest muscle in the human body, and smallest bone in the human body is known as stapes. From the ear, there is a connection is known as pharyngotympanic connection. The tube is referred as eustachian tubule. This eustachian tubule or eustachian canal that equalizes the pressure on both sides of ear. When there is a balance between the two ears is proper, the human can hear the sound properly with the help of eustachian tube. This eustachian canal that opens when we yawning. When there is an imbalance between the pressure on both the ear, that hears the ringing sound in the ear, and there is a pain and vertigo could happen.
equalizing the pressure on the both side that maintained by only the eustachian tube. The infection from nose to the throat, it happens because of this eustachian canal. This is all about the middle ear. Next we are going to see the inner ear.
Ear is otherwise known as labyrinth. It classified into two types. One is known as the bony labyrinth, that is outer part, and inner membranous labyrinth. The outer bony labyrinth, that is lined by the periosteum and the perilimb. And the innermost region is known as the membranous labyrinth, which is filled with the endolimb. This endolimb is rich in the potassium ions. The outermost, the bony labyrinth, that leads to the three different cavities. One is known as semicircular canal, vestibular apparatus, and finally cochlea. The vestibular apparatus, which comprises of the two main receptors, that is known as hearing and also for proprioception. The phonoreceptor, it is mainly helpful for hearing, and proprioception, that is for balancing the human body. The human ear is not only performing the hearing and also it performs the balancing of the body. In the semicircular canal, the three regions, that is vertically oriented anterior and posterior, and horizontally located lateral semicircular canals. This semicircular canal that ends up with the bulgy structure is known as ampulla. It's a sac-like structure. Inside the ampulla, that is known as ampulla cristalis. This region is very much important for maintaining the dynamic equilibrium. What is dynamic equilibrium? When our body exposed to the rotational or deceleration or acceleration, our body posture will be maintained properly because of this region. Next comes to vestibular apparatus. This vestibular apparatus, which comprises of two regions, it is a centralmost region that is known as saccule, another is known as the utricle. This saccule and utricle together known as macula, and this macular region is important for the static equilibrium. This helps the body to maintain equilibrium when our body exposed to a linear acceleration or deceleration. Now we see the mechanism of hearing. The sound waves from the pinna, it reaches to the auditory meters and it strikes the tympanum. From the tympanum, the sound that augments 20 times more to the region of the oval window. Between the oval window and tympanum membrane, there is three ossicles, that is known as ear ossicles, malleus, incus, stapes. From the middle ear, it conveys to the inner ear through by the oval window. This oval window that pushes inward, and this sound waves from the oval window enters into the cochlea and travels to the perilimb. And it travels and descends down and comes to the round window, and this round window pushes outward. And this sound waves that will go and hit the basilar membrane where the organ of Corti located. And this organ of Corti consists of the phonoreceptor that has 4 rows of hair cells. The 3 outer hair cells and 1 inner hair cells. And these hair cells that will make the stereocilia to move, and it will be convey the message to the tectoral membrane. The proper neurotransmitters involved here is glutamate. Glutamic acid is a neurotransmitter involved here. And from tectoral membrane, the information reaches to the brain primary auditory cortex region, that is the cerebrum region, and through by the nerve that is known as the auditory nerve. So this is how you are hearing and I am hearing. So this is all about the anatomy of human ear and mechanism of hearing. Thanks for your patient listening. Thank you.